So what are the unseen wounds of moral injury? Moral injury is the reaction of a morally competent individual to a moral dilemma, often described as moral injury or a wound of your character. It arises when we grapple with actions that betray your deeply held beliefs, or you witness events that might shatter your moral boundaries. This internal conflict can lead to profound suffering and a sense of powerlessness, maybe a loss of faith in the inherent goodness of the world, and it results in psychological distress. This is often marked by feelings of guilt, shame, self-condemnation, and it can permeate really deeply and often go really unnoticed, untreated, and not spoken about. So, who experiences moral injury? It was originally associated with military personnel, but it does extend and reach all of us. It impacts parents, healthcare providers, justice workers, individuals navigating anyone who has to make complex moral decisions. Sadly, healthcare practitioners particularly bear a heavy burden in this, and they've been found to suffer with higher levels of moral injury. Up to 69% of medical practitioners have suicide rates more than double the general population. Terror attacks, tragedies, everyday Australians sadly grapple with moral injury. About 62.2% of us from experience that range from childhood maltreatment, parents who've experienced their children experiencing maltreatment. They often blame themselves for not being there to be able to prevent any abuse, physical, mental, emotional, or sexual abuse that happened to their children. In my research, it's shown that moral injury is maintaining their PTSD by almost 50%. I also recently attended a conference at Durham University on moral injury. There's emerging research all around the world in so many areas that include medical practitioners that basically, when they have to advise their patients on end-of-life decisions, there's research on theologians who are looking at moral injury as a lens to reframe why there is church decline in Europe and North America. Social workers, war veterans, shame in different cultures, intergenerational cultural shame, elite sports people who have to go against their moral compass for the media or different things that they're asked to do by coaches or people in positions of power. So it's just not confined to war veterans. It affects all of us across all walks of life. Whenever we face pressures to excel and meet social or societal expectations, sometimes at the expense of our own values and well-being, this is when we can experience moral injury. So how can we recognise moral injury? If you find yourself feeling lots of guilt, shame, regret, blaming yourself, despite the profound impact of moral injury, it really does remain overlooked and overshadowed than those more visible symptoms of PTSD or anxiety. Studies indicate that moral injury exacerbates PTSD symptoms by almost half, so we really do need to be addressing those hidden wounds. Made me think of the movie Schindler's List. Do you remember the scene where Schindler whispers, "If only I could have saved more. If only I'd made more money, I could have saved more lives." He was experiencing moral injury. This quote supports the theme that one man can make a difference. Even if one man shows humanity to another, he is demonstrating the continued existence of humanity in society, something that utterly void in the actions of the Nazis during the Holocaust. But as Stern says, whoever saves one life saves the world. So for society to continue selflessly, kindness must exist. And as long as one good person exists, the world still exists and there's still good in the world. We know bravery awards are given all the time to everyday heroes who try and help save lives, parents who are trying to help keep their kids safe. When you make your work decisions and you're trying to help people, this can also result in moral injury because people still might get hurt, or you didn't see something that was coming that might have hurt others in a way that transgresses your own moral compass. So how can we treat and heal moral injury? Firstly, validating, acknowledging it, holding space that you are a good human and it's normal to experience moral injury for human suffering. Like soldiers who often return from war and find solace in having their suffering just acknowledged and holding space for this, actually that safe space being held is actually really healing for them. So think about social support, self-compassion for yourself, mindfulness, just living in the present moment, not in the past or the future, does show promise in alleviating moral injury. Talking about this, fostering environments of self-compassion really are the most crucial when confronting this issue. So what are some of the broader implications and solutions for moral injury? Well, because it extends far beyond, all of our experiences, and it can also include systemic betrayal. Understanding any of these systemic factors that might lead to moral injury as well, pressures, organisational dynamics, is really vital in all of us developing effective solutions. Cultivating psychologically safe environments for our staff, for our children, for our families, promoting self-compassion serves as linchpins in addressing moral injury and nurturing resilience. So by fostering understanding, connection and empathy towards those invisible wounds for ourselves and others, we can pave the way towards healing and prevent further suffering. The wounds of moral injury may remain unseen, but their impact reverberates profoundly across individuals and society. So let's embrace that compassion, foster understanding and seek solutions both at a personal level and a systemic level towards healing by all of those who are touched by moral injury. So reach out to a trusted friend or consult with your local GP or psychologist, and let's bravely share our stories and bear witness to human suffering to support one another on the journey towards healing. And together we can transform moral injury from a source of darkness into a bridge of hope, a lens of hope. Listening really is so close to love that you can barely tell the difference. So if you think you have a moral injury, please seek professional help, as this is not meant to be therapeutic, but educational to support you on your journey of self-discovery and transformation.